See my screen.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so this is a really, really short case. I thought I'd be nice to myself for the day I'm back from annual leave, but quite a good one. So I'm intrigued to see. This lady was unbooked at Croydon. She was booked at a different hospital but couldn't attend due to bed blockage. She was a Gravida 2 Para 1 previous forceps delivery in 2019. Med history includes a thyroglosal duct cyst, eczema, and she's had previous hand surgery, BMI of 23. 36-week ultrasound, normal fetal growth, LICOR and Dopplers, estimated fetal weight 2971 grams. Voted to sort of be a low risk pregnancy. I believe at St George's they do a 36-week growth scan for absolutely everybody. Obviously, these aren't our scans, but you know they are accurate as per their own trust. So yeah, anyway, she came into triage on the 17th of the month, 41 weeks and 4 days, contracting very regularly. Intelligent intermittent auscultation was used initially, and her baseline was set at around 145 beats per minute. This was in triage, part of her triage assessment. At 4:25, her cervix was found to be 7 centimeters dilated, and she was transferred over to our labour ward. Unfortunately, birth centre was closed on this specific evening. IIA was used between 4:25 and 4:55, and the baseline rate was at 144. And then she requested an epidural, so she was put on our CTG monitoring. So this is started at around 5:15 in the morning. So the test dose was given at 05:32. First bag of IV Hartmann's at 05:39. Here, and then 05:55, discussed with the midwife in charge the fact that there was clearly some decelerations here, and the decision was made to ARM due to decel. So a few things I just wanted to pick point, say this on a very regular basis, but this level of fetal monitoring is really, really not great for siting of epidural. As we've mentioned this on numerous occasions, please, if you do need some support with making sure you're getting fetal monitoring, do ask for it. And if you can't, then just make sure you've got the fetal heart rate well before the epidural is sited. Specifically considering the fact that this baseline was previously 145 and it's now looking up to like 160, between 160 and 180 here. I'd like to have seen a little bit more of CTG before we had that much loss of contact as well. But yeah, just as a sort of side note. And then I know that I've got at least two regs on this call. I'm just interested to see when we've got sort of decelerations on the CTG, what is the decision reason behind doing an ARM?
I will leave it to the person who decided that. I think at this point we have to kind of like find the antenatal antenatal CTG and see what's the baseline of this baby. I'm assuming that the baby is not starting with a baseline of 160 because the baby's 41 weeks and 4 days, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So we want to see what has been going on for the period before that. I wouldn't personally ARM this baby at this stage. I would like to know more information of what's going on. And
yeah.
If this, did you say she came in spontaneous labor?
Yeah, spontaneous labor 7 centimeters.
Okay, so she's Para 1, so she did kind of like do a little bit of work on her own, so that's good. But obviously, we're already in a gradually evolving hypoxia, probably compensated stage at the initial CTG. So I would like to get more information, but I wouldn't ARM her because she's progressing very well for a Para 2. She's already 7 centimeters. So what's the point of adding more stress to the baby at this stage?
Maya, is there any particular reason you can think of as to why somebody would have done an ARM? Like, I know that we often say, oh, we want to know what colour the LICOR is and whatnot, but is that really going to give us more information?
Apart from satisfying your own kind of like visual, I don't know, I can't explain it. There's no clinical indication to why you would ARM at this stage. She's progressed to 7 centimeters. She's Para 1. She's spontaneous onset of labor. The baby is already kind of compensating. I'm happy to say that the baby is compensating. The next stage is the baby's going to decompensate. So what's the benefit? I can't really answer.
Yeah.
No. So no, I wouldn't ARM.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to share their
Anyone else?
opinion?
Anyone else? There's many registrars. I can see Naz, I can see Tanya, Mr. Nagib.
All we're name calling. I love it.
Yeah, but Naz is on the CTG teaching today. I'm very excited about that. So I'm very happy that Naz is here. So good. We've got more people coming. That's very good. Anyway, the ARM. Let's keep on going.
Okay, it's a very short presentation because, yeah, this is what happens next. So an indwelling catheter, an indwelling catheter is inserted. She's ARM'd, it's clear liquor, she's fully dilated. The presenting part is at spines, and then essentially our baseline sits at around 160. We've got some sort of variable bordering on sort of more chemoreceptor decelerations at the beginning, which then obviously progress to much more chemoreceptor mediated responses. The emergency buzzer is pulled at 06:16, so in between the sort of second and third blue bars that you can see there. Registrar comes in, examines, finds her to be fully dilated, and then the plan is observe this for 10 minutes and deliver if the decelerations continue. The reason I also wanted to share this, and I was Maya, I was really hoping that you were going to be on the call today, was because at one of our previous cases we've had quite recently, when we've had sort of situations where things start to become slightly more decompensated and whatnot, you've always suggested that we rest the baby, see how things go before making sort of rash decisions and whatnot.
I agree, Tara, because
yeah.
I think that we do things that and we kind of like commit ourselves to kind of changes. So you see this baby, we know that baby's been compensating so far. So what have we done? We have stressed the baby more, and we've driven ourselves either to Cat 1 or to an emergency instrumental. This like the act of doing nothing is actually doing something. So if you kind of sit and wait, that doesn't mean you're ignoring the trace. It means you're actively waiting very patiently next to the trace and actually doing something by just observing. So it's very difficult to kind of like hold on fire and just say, I'm going to just do nothing. But when you stress the baby more, this is what the baby is going to give you. And I think it's becoming more like a recurring theme that we are getting ourselves in trouble. So now you've given me two traces that we have actually caused a little bit of havoc, and we have to act on it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I think sometimes I think this opinion is shared with quite a few midwives and probably lots of obstetricians as well, that I haven't really had conversations with them about it. But sometimes I think we get very much on a bit of a, we have a stopwatch situation. We're a ticking clock now. So okay, she's come in, she's in labour, she's 7 centimeters. Oh, D cells. Okay, well, let's speed up the process, because actually maybe if we speed up the process, then that means the baby will be out quicker and will be in less distress for longer. Whereas actually that's not the case. Actually, if you've already got a baby that is showing you signs of distress, adding additional stress to that is not the answer to make it faster. It's actually the complete opposite, and actually allowing women some more time and babies some more time to recover from things or to try and get used to their environment is actually going to be much more beneficial in the long run.
I just want to add to what you said, Cara, what Maya said, that I know I said this before, but it maybe for the benefit of the new attendees, Mr. Austin Ogumado, which is my really a role model in CTG and in teaching obstetrics, used to tell me the train is going at a speed of 20 or 30. You push the train and put the gas and you go at the speed of 100, it can really go off the tracks. So ARMing, when you have such a deceleration, you are releasing more stress to this baby and more contractions. So here came my usual question, shall I ARM first or terbutaline first? So the answer was terbutaline in this case. Relax the baby, give him some time, make the CTG better, see the progress, and if the progress is fine, you don't have to. And if the progress is not fine and when the CTG is better, then you can AR. So this is what we should be doing. So anticipation. Second point is, I was recently in the labor ward and a CTG was absolutely dreadful at 0 centimeter. And the obstetrician on the ground, without mentioning names, without mentioning grades, said, let's wait 10 minutes. And in this case, again, the 10 minutes come into the situation. I'm not sure what is the 10 minutes rule that came suddenly into obstetrics. Let's wait 10 minutes. Let's wait 15 minutes. I don't know what is the 10 minutes. If you want to wait, tell me why you are waiting. And I am grateful for the band 7 on that day who said, what are we waiting 10 minutes for? Let's give terbutaline. Let's then wait 10 minutes to see the effect of terbutaline. Fantastic. Now we have a plan. So if we give terbutaline and wait 10 minutes, I understand. If we wait 10 minutes on such a CTG, I'm not sure what is the point on waiting. So I would give terbutaline, relax. As Maya said, it's compensated, but yeah, it is going to decompensation, and we know that it is going with the baseline, with the deceleration. So it is better to slow it down than see what happens, even if I need later to put some Synto on. Obstetrics, again, is an art of when to wait and when to intervene. Not a single case is similar to the other, and we cannot extrapolate things. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Naguib. Does anybody else want to add anything? Okay, so we then go to theatre. She is fully dilated, presenting parters at spines, but the decision was made for a cesarean section and not for a trial of instrumental due to the high head and a palpating big baby. So knife to skin at 0706 and delivery at 0709. And as you can see, the baseline does sort of return to, well, remains at 160, but the decelerations are not as sort of prolonged and long lasting.
Sorry to ask you, Cara, because I missed the beginning. She
Yeah,
had a previous
previous
vaginal delivery.
forceps in 2019. Yeah.
All right. Because there is exactly similar one that I was reviewing whose previous section at full dilatation, and the person on the ground felt it's unsafe to do the instrumental because it was a narrow subpubic arch. So I'm not sure. Okay, fine.
No, this is a different one.
Right.
Yeah. Perfect. Anybody want to guess the APGARs and the gases of this baby?
Before we guess, Cara, the 2019 baby forceps, how
Yeah.
big?
Normal size, I think 70th centile.
Like, and this one?
This one, bear with me. Estimated fetal weight at 36 weeks was 2971. So average size, but because so it's St George's, Mr. Naguib, she was transferred, so they don't do gap there. But I think it was a normal centile at that time.
But we don't know the size, the previous one.
The previous one was normal size. I think the baby was like 7 pounds.
7 pounds is 3 point, what, 3?
3.2, 3.3, yeah.
Okay, fine, yeah, okay. Right.
Cara, just before
Yeah.
we kind of guess the APGARs, I want everyone to contribute to why is this a Cat 1 section?
Yeah.
What is the baby saying and what is the baby doing? Why did we call this baby a Cat 1 section? Anyone? Or at least just, I need someone to tell me what is the baby doing here? Because obviously you're all going to guess the APGARs and you're going to guess it right. But why do we think this is a Cat 1 section? Not that I agree or disagree, but why would we call this a Cat 1 section? Anyone? So the baby here is compensating. So the baby's throwing catecholamines to raise the baseline. So the baby has got mechanism. The baby has got reserve. The baby is trying to respond to the stress that has been just subjected to. So number one, we did put ourselves, and not that I know this case or anyone who's done it, but like this has been, so when you do a response, you get a response back from the baby. So with ARM, we stress the baby, and the baby is responding to the same stress that we introduced. And now the baby is responding to the stress that we have inflicted on him. So why do we then kind of take the baby to Cat 1 section if the baby's telling us, I'm just responding to what you've just subjected on me? The baby's throwing catecholamines, raising baseline. Still variability is good. Yes, the baby is stressed. However, why do we feel that we need to deliver this baby within 20 minutes? Mr. Naguib, help.
Maybe maybe Maya, the question is maybe nobody is answering because nobody is agreeing to the
I'm
Cat 1.
glad, but this is a good answer.
Okay.
So when every action has got a reaction, I don't know if that's like called Lavoisier rule, or I can't remember my physics, which is equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. You stress the baby and then you get a response. So this baby you've just stressed, the baby is giving you the response back. So you don't kind of section the baby. Wait and see what the baby's doing. Again, we need to see the physiology. We need to follow the physiology of what we are introducing. So I agree, maybe the head is high. Again, we can de-stress, calm down what we've introduced, and then we can achieve. I do believe, Cara, that this was not very justifiable Cat 1 section. I don't know what's documented in the notes, but I think, it has been, maybe it's 7 a.m. You can think of what's going on the ground, other things happening, but this is not a Cat 1 section. I don't know if any of the other seniors can agree with me or disagree. Please help.
I had this sort of conversation on the day that I sort of discovered this case. I was sort of questioning the same sorts of things and just thinking, reflecting back on what we've said previously about de-stressing, giving the baby a chance to sort of recover, and then moving on from there. You make a very, very, very valid point, and it makes complete and utter sense to try and give everybody equal opportunity to have a normal delivery, specifically when someone's had a vaginal birth before as well, even with primates, not just with anybody that's had a vaginal birth previously. I do believe it was stepped down to a Cat 2 when we got into theatre. It helped that obviously she had the epidural on board.
Yeah, I feel like if I am in this situation, and let me put it first to maybe Maya back. Let's put another situation. You are not the registrar who did the ARN. You are just responding to a situation. Let's say you are on the ground, and the midwife ARMs her, and you see the CTG like 3 slides ago. What would you do?
So this baby has got previously good reserve. There's no kind of like antenatal risk factors. Even we have an extra 36-weeker scan that assures us that everything is going well. Yeah. And what Cara said at the beginning, if birth center was open, this would be a birth center case. She came in a spontaneous labor and she is 7 centimeters. So this baby is fully grown with normal reserve. Yes, there was a gradually evolving hypoxia. However, the baby was responding well. So I've received it after the ARM. I've received it after the ARM. I just
Yes.
need to slow things down. I need to slow things down because I'm
Yeah,
already fully dilated. I acknowledge I'm high. I've not started active pushing. So what I need in this case is the element of time.
exactly. So go back one or two slides,
Absolutely.
Clara, please.
Yeah. So I'm here. I just need to make things more favorable for the child, the baby, sorry, to come down for either
Yeah,
like spontaneous vaginal delivery, or in the other scenario is like instrumental, which is more favorable, not a cat one section.
I'm happy. No, no, I am happy with your answer. So number one, we wouldn't have ARM'd, but I'm putting another scenario. It is not you who ARM'd,
Yeah,
somebody,
yeah, yeah. So I've even
and
received it after the ARM. I would still give terbutaline. Slow it
exactly. So
down.
this
What am I scared of?
exactly this is
Contraction?
number two.
Yeah.
Number
What
two.
am I scared of? Yeah.
Number three situation. If we go forward, Cara, please, and we are in theater. We are in theater in the not in this one, in the next one, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So we are in theater, Maya, and you
Mm,
see this CTG,
mm.
and you already called from the room a cat one, and you went to theater, and this is the case, and she is
I think
fully
it's
under one.
the hardest thing for the registrar in this situation is to call it off, to say, I'm actually, you know what, I want to wait. It's a very,
Ah,
very difficult situation. And it's obviously, I know everyone will never want to kind of say, you know something, I would wait. But at the end of the day, you want to do what's the best for the patient. And there's nothing wrong in saying things have changed. I'm going to wait. I'm going to give her terbutaline, calm her down, and then we see and wait. You're already in
agree.
theater. So if you give
I,
terbutaline and you wait half an hour, yes, everyone is going to be moaning around you and roll
yeah,
their eye. But at the end of the day, you are, kind of 100% making sure your decision is sound.
I agree. So now we agreed on three things, and you answered the three absolutely fine. I would wait also in theater. I see this. I give terbutaline, wait for the descent of the head, and not only descent of the head, I can, you know, move back to the room. Sometimes is not the easiest, I know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and I would wait. And now I am 706.
Mm-hmm,
I say I am not going to section. I am waiting,
mm-hmm.
and terbutaline will give me 1 hour of passive descent, and then also it will give me fresher
Tachycardia. Yeah,
fresher people.
yeah, we need to be aware that whatever I'm giving is also kind of like, I'm giving terbutaline. I'm not waiting for the baseline to settle down. So I
Yeah,
should kind of be prepared that this baseline is going to stay 160, and I should actually stay there saying it is 160, and I'm still going to be happy with that.
that's it. So now, if she had a, uh, I haven't seen the beginning. We don't have epidural, isn't it?
We do.
We do. We do have epidural, and we have a catheter.
Yeah.
Good. So in that case, I will wait. And in my opinion, what happened in this case is very simply the 5 to 8 phenomena that I always know and I have been always suffering from when I was a registrar. It is the time of the worst decisions. And whatever the seniority of the person, it is the time when you feel you are not fully concentrating on your decision making. So uh, I would say in this situation, terbutaline, and say to the anesthetist, okay, even if I'm not going to the room, give me another 10 minutes with the terbutaline and I'll give you the decision. It will not be the best communication. It will be a nightmare because they are also in the time of the twilight, and they are really pissed off at this time of the morning, and they want to finish. So they would say, oh, this is not a decision. But actually, If you look at a cat 1 or cat 2 cesarean section, and if this lady goes to bowel injury or goes to paralytic ileus needing later surgical intervention, we will also have to look at why the decision was made. And specifically in this case, where we all agree, looking at the CTG, that it is not a hypoxic baby. And coming to the question of Cara, I expect the gases to be like between 7.1 and 7.2, or maybe a normal Apgars, really. But yes, so please tell us, Cara.
So gases weren't taken for this case, which I find infuriating. But the APGARs were 9, 10, 10. This baby was 4.56 kilos on the 96th percentile. Baby was absolutely fine, and then at 43 hours of life had significantly bad tachyapnea and worsening stridor. So which continued to get worse. And then the rest rate went up to 100. So sadly, this baby was admitted to neonatal unit.
Cara, please check. The one case I reviewed was also 4.5, but it was a previous section.
There was
And
two,
the rest-
Naguib. There was two admissions literally on the same day that weighed almost exactly the same weight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
4.5 kilos on the same day. Okay.
Yeah, we've had a few really big babies recently, and sadly, a few of them have been admitted.
So the only explanation in this scenario then, that the registrar or whoever is examining is feeling that this baby is not going to be delivered vaginally. I don't know. I feel something is missing here, Cara. For proceeding with the cesarean in this kind of scenario is very perplexing. The only thing is that there is something non-documented.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I do go through the notes pretty thoroughly, but I can always miss something.
No. It's not you. I'm saying not documented.
Maybe.
Which was
I mean, it was documented, like the reason for decision here for cesarean section, not for trial, is the high head and big baby. But
okay. Yeah.
but yeah.
You know, if these
Yeah.
are like cases that we're personally involved in, Naguib, obviously not everyone is able to slash attend the meetings. Is there like, Cara, do you ever feedback like personally about like cases, or is it just that we see them in this meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. So I review every single term admission that's admitted to the unit. These are reviewed as part of the attain meetings. So if you want, I think you should have a calendar invite for that one. If there's ever any sort of individual feedback and whatnot, myself and Naguib discuss it, and I tend to discuss it with the midwives, and Mr. Naguib tends to discuss it with the obstetric team. So we sort of collaborate together.
Yeah. So Amelia, I the ones that I feel was a on the CTG that has some sort of like shouting at me that something is really not right, I feed back to the registrar, yeah, or to the consultant. But yeah, I haven't seen. So most of those cases, like once it is obvious on the note that the registrar is saying it's a big baby, the decision is not because of the CTG, then it is more of a justifiable kind of. The ones that go for section as a cat 1, so there was a cat 1 done for a para 6, fully dilated. So I had a discussion with the reg and so on. And so, yeah, I feedback. But happily, I must say, most of you guys have not got any clinical problems in like I can see that it's shouting at me to say there is something wrong. But if there is, yes, I would feedback.
Okay, cool. Thank
But
you.
also just sort of worth noting, obviously, you know, we review as many cases as possible. You know, the first thing people say to me in the morning is, "Oh, can you come and review this?" Or "This was a good CTG last night." And I did get your email as well, which I've reviewed, Amelia. But obviously, if people
Yeah.
don't highlight
That was
certain
that
things
person.
to us as well, then it's obviously it can be quite challenging, because there's almost certainly a few cases that have been really, really sort of poor, that we haven't actually been able to see, because obviously we can't view every single CTG from every single woman in the entirety of labour ward. So it kind of does rely upon sort of people sending cases like you did, and also just looking through notes and stuff and seeing any babies that have got poor APGARs. I look at on Mary Ward on a regular basis and look at their CTGs, that kind of thing. So you have to kind of go on the hunt for some of these cases sometimes, but then obviously with the ones that get admitted, I do review all of the CTGs, and they're a lot easier to find, if you like.
Yeah, cool. I just thought it's nice, you know, if we're all talking about it in the meeting, that all the people that are involved they get the feedback too, because not everyone can make it, can they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and also, Amelia, I feel like this meetings is more about not as we always say, it's not about CTG alone. It's about the clinical scenario where CTG is only one piece of the puzzle. And if there is other pieces that is missing, that's why we are always thinking what is behind the clinical picture. And if the sometimes, Amelia, I examine and feel like, I cannot deliver this baby, whatever. If I wait, if I give terbutaline, if I wait another hour, another two, this baby is not coming from there. It will come from the
Yeah.
roof. And you feel like, how can you, sometimes I am able to voice my thoughts into writing in the documentation, and similarly my colleagues. Sometimes 7 o'clock in the morning, I am not going to, or maybe if I am the registrar on, I am tired and I'm not going to write that, I felt that, although CTG can become better, and although I can wait another hour, I felt it is not deliverable vaginally, which gives me more, or gives the investigator more insight into the decision making. We should do it all the time, but it is harsh to request it at this time of the morning, especially with presence of one registrar, when we are shouting for 10 years for two registrars. So this is a bigger thing, but at the same time, you need this kind of bigger insight. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. That's what I was just thinking, having finished nights on Friday, that to sit down and write that justification would be the last thing I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
But important nonetheless.
Perfect. If there's anything else
Mr.
anybody wants to add, then
I
go
wanted to
ahead.
ask Mr. Naguib actually, Cara. So, I mean, because I completely agree. I'm personally never a hero at 7 o'clock. So if I feel this is not going to be a easy delivery, I will obviously just go for the safest, fastest route of delivery. But Mr. Naguib, how can you kind of like, if the scan is saying it's not over 4 kilogram, like, would you guys be happy if we are just on clinical basis say this baby is too big to come vaginally, or do we would be criticized for not? This is my personal learning. Like, if I have to go for cat 2, let's say, and I think I'm going to go for a trial, would you abandon going for a trial just because you are thinking the baby's big, or you would go first and try to do instrumental or straight for section?
You are asking me personally, isn't it?
I
Not
mean, I mean, you're the most senior person here, so yes, I'm asking you because you're
okay.
the most senior person here.
Fine.
Just because
So,
obviously I want to learn as well, and I want to kind of like so obviously let's eliminate the time because it's 7 o'clock when all of us will never try to be heroes at 7 o'clock. Obviously, where our decisions are always compromised at this hour. However, like if I feel clinically the baby's big, and she's fully dilated, let's say at spines, would you criticize me if I'm going to go straight for cat 2, or would you say no, you should actually be trying first in a para 1?
Okay, so my personal opinion, and this is not based on, so don't quote me. Like, for example, I am not as knowledgeable as Dagmar, for example, who will mention 100 papers per second.
Oh,
But
where's the
but for me, I am proudly saying that from 2004 till 2023, I had two failed instrumental, and the two failed instrumental were due to forcing from my consultant to perform it when I didn't want. And I know them and by hospital. So what I would say is I have gone into situation where I put a forceps on and I get the baby. But I cause so much of absolute bombing of this perineum. I have done uh, mm, difficult ones in para 6, in para 7, where the head is not spines even. And but I have done it because I know that it is coming so easily when she's pushing because she's para 7 and so on. So there is not a single clinical scenario that is similar to the other. But what I can say is I always depend on my manual examination of the baby as if I am examining a fibroid uterus. And if I'm examining a fibroid uterus, I say to myself, it's 20 weeks, it's 26 weeks, it's 30 weeks. When I examine a baby and I audit myself, I say to myself, this is a 3.8, 4 kilo, based on me holding the baby in cesarean section and so on. So it is based on multiple things. So when I feel it is spines and it is a big baby, I can honestly, in front of everybody, say, I will not try instrumental for the sake of people not criticizing me for not applying Avon tools. Is this an excuse to always take the easy option? No, because as I said, I have tried once and I can say that I delivered my biggest one is 4.95 in Kingston and it came easily. So it's not that I don't do, but I evaluate the situation. And if I feel that this baby is going to come with horrendous tears and and especially with the narrow arch where the head will come one way, which is posteriorly, giving way on the rectum, giving way on the side walls, uh, causing ischiorrectal fossa that is going to her like buttocks. And we have all seen this kind of situation. I don't do it. Over the years, I also adopted that uh, instrumental, safe instrumental, and um, with the minimal trauma, yes, heroic instrumental, which will come. I know the ones that I will put a forceps on, I will get it, irrespective of the situation. And I know myself, and everybody will know themselves as well. So that because I know myself that when I put the forceps on, it will come irrespective of the trauma, I don't go to this extent. And I said to myself, listen, it is not easy to deliver this baby. This baby feels to me above 4 kilo with spines. Why it didn't come in a para one? I go for a section and I wouldn't as and I adopted this since 2015 when I took labor ward lead that I don't criticize, let's say, Maya for doing cesarean at full dilatation if she says to me, I am feeling big baby. But if I am seeing a trend, let's say, Maya is sectioning every single woman at full dilatation, 2.2 kilo, 2.5 kilo, 2.7 kilo, 3.2 kilo. I will say, okay, Maya, let's sit down and talk. Do you fear instrumental? No, I don't. It is me evaluating, and my evaluation has become wrong. I say, okay, if it has become wrong, my rate of becoming wrong was 1 in 10, 10 years ago. Now is about 5%. I'm not going to lie and say I'm always right, because I will be lying. So I would say no. I wouldn't criticize you, Maya, for doing, as long as we said, justifying your decision. Like in this case, uh, fully dilated, feeling, the registrar, whoever is writing, I'm feeling the baby is big clinically. I am not doing it instrumental. I'm going straight for section. You see, it's 4.5. You say, you know what? This person had a good clinical evaluation. So if you do the same, I wouldn't be. If you do this and it is 3.2, I wouldn't again criticize you. But if I see 10 cases which you have done 3.2, including para 4 and para 5 and para 6, then something is wrong. Because I have, through my training, I have seen registrars, my colleagues at the time of my training, who would section anybody walking in the corridor for the sake of fearing instrumental.
Yeah, I think that answered me. Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
will try to avoid 3.2 in particular.
No,
Perfect. Anything else anyone wants to add?
Can I add something, Kara?
Yep.
Just what Mr. Nagib said, I feel clinical pelvimetry, though we don't do it very often, that helps a little bit. Like if the pubic arch, he did mention about the pubic arch, if the ischial spine is prominent, how is the pelvic curve? And obviously, the weight of the baby is relative to the mother. If we have a small Asian woman and she's having a 3.5 kilo baby, maybe that baby is too big for her. So I think it's very relative, and doing a bit of clinical pelvimetry sometimes can help us to decide if it's a big baby. And it's always really important to document, as over here it's been documented, like it was a big baby presenting parted spines. I don't know if they tried to push or not. So maybe will be helpful. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I,
Mr.
I,
Nagib.
I don't think pelvimetry is it has already deemed not fit for purpose. But what I would say, Gargi, is if and again, I am basing this on twice going to a coroner inquest and one time in investigated myself. So what I found is that most likely, if the lawyer or the coroner or whoever is investigating is seeing a thought process that you have put into the documentation, usually the criticism is much, much, much less. If you tell me it is being Asian, narrow pubic arch, gestational diabetes, bigger abdominal circumference than head circumference, high risk of shoulder dystocia, and on evaluation, I felt it is, although it is fully, it is going to be a difficult instrumental in the presence of abnormal CTG. You know, when you put this paragraph on its own, you have gone out of the problem, because the investigator, whatever, even if it is non-medical, will say this person has a very thorough thought process, and they wouldn't criticize you. So I agree with you. If you write your thought process, I'm feeling so and so and so, and this is the clinical situation, you are fine. But we can't go back to pelvimetry as such.
Okay. So you mean if I feel like there's a bit of caput molding, like I feel the labor is not progressing, not in this case, in general, I feel the pubic arch is really narrow. Is it worth mentioning that thing, or it is
Yeah, yeah.
in my
Well,
document?
of course, in documentation you say so, and if you say caput molding narrow arch, I don't know, and I am 4 centimeter, then you examine again in 4 hours. I am 5 centimeter with the above findings. So on the balance, although she is contracting so and so and so and so, I am not leaving her another 4 hours. We have been 12 hours on syntocinon, for example. This is on its own is a justifiable cesarean. But when you say I am 4 centimeter, now I am 8 centimeter, there is caput, and I see that as well. Caput plus 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 plus, four pluses, molding plus 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 plus, and I don't know. And now we are fully dilated plus two, caput plus plus. I don't know where is this coming from, and then normal delivery. So sometimes what we write also needs to have a meaning rather than
Yeah.
trying. So I saw, not in your batch, guys, but this was 3 years ago. And I sat down with the registrar. She was persistently writing 2 pluses of caput, 2 pluses of molding, +1 station, instrumental done, successful. And I feel that this person, we sat together and we had a chat, and it was one thing. She was afraid from her previous hospital to be criticized if she has a failed instrumental. So she was always preempting a failure before attempting it. So if she succeeds, thank you very much, well done. And if she doesn't, she already preempted, um, I'm going to fail, guys. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And then I noticed that there was a trend. Every single instrumental had a 3 pluses of caput and 3 pluses of molding. It, it doesn't make sense. So we need to write what we really feel rather than trying to tailor the uh, um, finding to the outcome. So I can like make it.
Thank you, Mr. Nagib.
Thank you very much, Cara. It is absolutely lovely. Thank you for initiating the discussion, all of you, and thank you for coming.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.